I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass, but this video is just me walking through how I went through from feeling completely stuck, directionless, and numb to actually showing up as a grounded, clear, solid fucking man. Not some version of me that just looks good on paper, but a man who actually leads his life, holds his relationships properly, earns respect without needing to chase it, and wakes up with drive and direction, not just stress and pressure. And this shift didn't just come from doing some kind of morning routine or listening to some podcast episode. Like, it came from me hitting a fucking breaking point where I couldn't keep bullshitting myself. So I stripped everything back, rebuilt myself, and from that, this turned into a system. And that's what I'm going to share with you here today. Like, before we dive in, this video is raw. There's no edits, there's no music, there's no bullshit. It's just straight up slideshow and me talking. So if you're one of those guys who needs the hype and the background beats to pay attention, then you're not going to get much out of this video. But if you're actually ready to sit down, focus and listen, grab a notebook, grab a pen and tune in, because this next 25 minutes might be the best investment you make in yourself this year. Let's get into it.
Hey everyone, today I'm going to go through how I went from this guy on the left here who had found himself pretty physically injured, but also he was emotionally injured. He didn't know how to express himself, he didn't know how to show up in his relationships, and really was just lacking any kind of discipline or real leadership in his life, to now who I am today, which is a man that I am actually proud of. I'm showing up in my relationships with friends, with family, intimately. I know how to be emotionally intelligent. I know how to express myself, express my emotions, and I don't just suppress it all, and I don't just let it all bottle up on the inside and then, react or burst out when you don't want it. So today I'm going to walk you through the actual steps that I took over about 10 years. I know it's a long time, over 10 years, and this built this system, which is now what I call the negative identity erasure system, which is built to remove and erase entrepreneurs and businessmen's hidden pain so that you can build unbreakable discipline and leadership in now just 90 days. You're not going to have to take the 10 years that I took, but let me walk you through those steps that I went through. So on the left here, this is where I was before, which was where I was running my cafe. I thought that I was successful. I thought that I was doing all the right things, but internally, everything was completely different. I was messed up on the inside, let's put it that way. I was always seeking more. I was always seeking more money. I was always seeking more validation, always seeking more distractions, but nothing fixed this hole that I had in me. I was emotionally disconnected. I was pouring myself into work because I didn't want to be still with myself and face the own shit that I had going on. The relationship I had at the time, whilst it was beautiful, it lacked real depth because I wasn't able to actually show up emotionally as a man or lead with any kind of integrity or strength. At the time, I was completely addicted to everything else that was going around me. So weed, like I said, I was working 13, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, building this business. Well, that's what I was telling myself, but it was just avoiding my own reality. But now who I am today is I'm a man that's solid in who I am. I'm grounded, I'm clear, I'm emotionally steady. I'm what I would like to call the lighthouse in the storm. I've rebuilt my entire identity from the inside out. I've completely got rid of those limiting beliefs and built a new identity around who I want to be and how I want to show up, which is present, powerful, and I lead in my relationships. I'm also now disciplined and focused, so I know where I want to be and I know what I need to do to get there. And so that's all about having those non-negotiables built into my day. So my identity is now one of being disciplined. So who is this for? This is for men who are ready to build unshakable confidence and crush every single roadblock that's been in your way. If you are struggling in different ways, if you've been held back by emotional baggage and you want to feel free, you want to feel fulfilled, and you want to feel fully alive again, this is for you. If you want that real, emotional, intimate relationship that is built on that depth and connection and how you can actually show up in there and not just how many digits, how many numbers, how many zeros you have in your bank account, then this is for you. And if you're already ready to carry a masculine presence that is grounded, that is powerful, that when you walk into a room, people can feel it and you don't have to perform it, then this is definitely for you. And if you're tired of just drifting, coasting through life without some kind of actual direction to purpose and power, then this is also for you. However, if you're happy just coasting through life, just letting it come as it does, then this isn't for you. If you've got no hunger to grow, no ability to self-reflect and look at where you might be the person holding you back, then this isn't for you. If your ego's too loud to take guidance from someone who's walked the path, or if you'd rather just stay stuck in that wishful thinking than actually do the real work, this is not for you. And if you're happy to let the distractions rule your life, and if you're not seriously craving more, if you don't want to actually step up, if you think that money makes you a man and you're not actually ready to face what sits underneath all of that, then this isn't for you. Also, if you're under 30, then let's be blunt. This isn't for you, because you need to be the kind of man that's willing to do the change. You need to be the kind of man that's willing to do the work. So if any of this hits home for you and you are not ready to change it, just click off, because I am not here to entertain. I'm here to help men rise. All right, so here's the harsh reality that most men are not willing to actually admit. Becoming this beautiful, grounded, and fulfilled masculine man after 30 is not easy. It's damn near impossible, especially for entrepreneurs and businessmen. But not because it's too late, but because most men believe the subconscious lies that they're told. They believe their limiting beliefs and they hold on to them so tightly. Things like success will fill that internal void, or that hitting that 10, 20, 30, 100K month will finally make you feel whole. That emotional intelligence is weakness, that boys don't cry, boys shouldn't show emotions, men shouldn't show emotions, and that being constantly busy means that you're doing well. Like, none of this works. None of it actually fills that gap inside. Most men are wondering why they're not happy even though they've achieved so much. This is because they've built the outer success on a broken inner foundation. But there's no such thing as too late. Most men just haven't had anyone sit them down and make them understand what's happening when they're constantly reinforcing these bad habits and these bad decisions and these bad behaviors. See, you're subconsciously rejecting fulfillment, which is your divine purpose as a man. But this is the system which takes the negative and replaces it with the positive. All right, so here's what you're actually going to learn through this system. Simple. How to erase those shitty feelings that actually hold you back, those limiting beliefs that you were convinced that money could solve. Then we learn how to build these internal routines, these habits and foundations that are actually going to ground you instead of just in that short-term hustle, but for long-term growth. Then we look at how you can actually naturally attract the right people into your life, right? Not through this effort or performance, but through your essence that you hold. Because when you're grounded and clear and emotionally solid, people feel it. And lastly, we turn you into making you a person with wealth, not just a person of wealth. So what this is about turning you into a man who carries wealth instead of just having it. There's a difference. See, one's internal and one's just surface level. So, long story short, I started running an online business about 10, 11 years ago. Well, I was starting to. Then I had a pretty serious accident which wound me up in hospital, which you saw in the first picture, and you can see on the one here on the right. Absolutely shattered my ankle, dislocated it, ruptured all the tendons. It was a great time. What happened though after that was I became quite despondent. I ended up smoking a whole lot of weed to try to deal with the pain that I was facing. It really just became a crutch for my whole life. And it took me a long time to stop doing that. It took me a long time to remove that from my identity. But during that time, I started a cafe and I was making nearly $1,000 a day, or I was making over $1,000 a day, really. And so as a 21-year-old, this felt really successful, but internally, like I said before, there was this disconnect. I was emotionally numb from myself and everything around me that really mattered and the people that really mattered. thinking that it was going to be more money that solved that problem, I chased something else. I chased a new business. I moved interstate. More things fell down. The business fell down. I felt emasculated because I was now relying on my partner at the time for financial support. Then I felt lost in the relationship. I wasn't worthy. I didn't feel worthy of her love. I didn't feel worthy of her supporting me. And so this created this huge downward spiral. I pushed her away, broke up with her, found myself in a deep, dark depression spiral. And thinking that still it was going to be money that solved it, I chased another business. So I started another cafe. Then during COVID, I lost it again. So I've gone up, I've come down, I've gone up again, come down again, and now I've rebuilt myself because that was the last time, that was the wake up call that I really needed to change to then rebuild. So this is the system that I've actually created from those rock bottoms. This is not just books or theory. This is my lived experience. This is my own negative identity erasure system. So this is a completely structured and systemized program. It's been refined through over 10 years, I guess, of my personal work and being tested with men through pro bono coaching. So when I first started, I wasn't trying to build this. I wasn't trying to create a program. I was just trying to save myself. I'd spent well over in excess of $10,000 on courses, going and seeing different people, physical retreats. I was doing therapy. I did introspective work, plant medicine, everything I was looking at to try to fill this hole inside of me. But nothing I ever did brought it close. Nothing I ever did really made it complete. It didn't gel together until I started forging my own path. I found a process that actually worked. So what started as just research and a self-healing journey, it became this something so much bigger. And now I know that this was what I was meant to pass on. I'm heeding my calling, being a men's coach. So I'm going to break down everything that I learned, the exact framework here that finally made it all fall into place for me. So the next following steps I'm going to walk through is the exact process behind the negative erasure system. You're not going to have to go to all of this therapy, meditating for 1,000 hours, become some self-help guru. This is what it is. This is all you need. All right, so let me just move that. So this is a very simple system. Well, it's not a simple system. It's simple when you look at it. However, it's a no bullshit system. So I've really built this now to help you men transform the way you think, feel, and lead and show up in your life. It is definitely not a quick fix solution. This is something that takes time, takes internal work so that you can have external results. But it will create a lasting change in every aspect of your life. And you don't have to wait the 10 years that I did to work this out. You get it right now. So the first module is, like I said, the negative identity erasure system. This is where everything begins. We break you free from your limiting beliefs so that we can build that unyielding discipline and leadership so that you can create those lasting foundations for your whole life and you don't get trapped in these bullshit cycles anymore, repeating the same thing. Then we move on to the life navigation roadmap. So this is where we learn to build resilience so you can navigate life's transitions with purpose and integrity. Because we all go through them, whether it's business loss, whether it's grief from losing a family member, heartbreak, we all go through them. We need to learn how to navigate them. Then we look at optimizing physical and mental performance. If you have a weak body, you're going to have a weak mind. They are intertwined. You cannot unlink them. So we learn how to ground and balance that body so that we can build you clear and concise steps to get you towards your goal. Then we talk about the blueprint for emotional intelligence and art of persuasion, because emotional intelligence is everything, brothers. It is everything. This helps you have relationships. It helps you in sales. It helps you when you're talking about your business to other people. Communication and emotional intelligence, understanding that is everything. And then lastly, we move into fulfillment, purpose, and brotherhood. This is so important. I cannot stress this enough. This is where we build those real foundation relationships of people that are going to hold you to your highest standard. If you don't have brotherhood in your life, you are going to fall apart. Now, this is where it's your turn. You take this system so that you can make the changes in your life. So this wasn't built in theory. It was built through my own lived experience. I had to completely destroy this version of myself that you see here so that I could rebuild something stronger, so that I could rebuild the man who is actually disciplined, who is actually steady, someone that my future wife, my future children can all rely on. And now I'm going to pass that same blueprint over to you. This is a system that will transform everything throughout your life. Stage one is the negative identity erasure system. So this is where we break free from those limiting beliefs. How did I do it? Well, I got so fucking honest with myself. I started asking myself super hard questions like, why am I doing this? Why am I showing up like this? Where did I first feel like this? Journaling, voice notes on my phone, all of it. This is how I got out this limiting belief story. This is how I removed this old identity. So these were stories from my upbringing, from school, from my parents, from the friends groups that I was trying to impress, from what I thought society expected of a man. Like, I truly thought at the time, if I can't hold myself together, then how can I hold a relationship with a woman who truly loves me? It's all built off that self-worth. How did I change that? Well, I stopped leaning on those external validation sources such as money. I stopped leaning in distractions such as weed, these temporary emotional fixes. I wasn't going down any productivity hacks. This wasn't something that was going to improve my journey emotionally, being more productive. No, I didn't need to learn how to do that. I needed to learn how to be disciplined. So I started building this sense of respect through consistent action. If I said I was going to do something, I did it. That is a game changer. Being the man who can trust his own word. When you build your own self-respect, other people will see that, and that's how they will then start to treat you. So building this discipline from the ground up, I didn't have other people to lean on in this situation. I had to do it for myself. And so things, for example, I was training when I didn't want to. I woke up when I didn't want to. I built the structure, the routine, and inevitably the discipline that I could then rely on. Stage two is the navigation roadmap. So this is where we talk about the emotional intelligence and really building that into your own life. It wasn't just about sitting in therapy or doing breath work. All of that is fantastic, yes. However, I needed to learn how to bring that into my life. I needed to learn how to bring that emotional control, that emotional stability, and being able to process my emotions into my life. So then I became aware of how I was speaking to other people. And not just that, how then I was speaking to myself and how those words were impacting me. I learned what my emotions were. This is crazy. I only thought that there were a couple of emotions before: happy, sad, or angry. I really didn't understand that there was a whole scope of different things. So once I started learning what the emotions were, I started feeling them within myself, and then I could discuss them. I didn't feel like this little boy with everything bottled up inside and not knowing how to express them. So yeah, I used some basic somatic tools and these movement-based practices to actually learn how to get into my body, because too many of us sit up with our heads, right? We need to feel into ourselves. In order to heal it, you've got to feel it. I didn't have a goal of becoming this emotional and soft man, but I wanted to become an emotionally grounded man who didn't run away from his feelings, because that is true strength. And then I noticed where my emotions started sitting, and I understood the language that men need to use when we're discussing this. It needs to be strong, direct, but also it needs to be compassionate. All right, so this is stage three. This is the blueprint for emotional intelligence and the art of persuasion. This is where we learn to navigate life's transitions with purpose. Every man goes through challenges, roadblocks, setbacks in his life, such as fatherhood, loss, business loss, relationships, heartbreak, all of that. So I used to be someone that just reacted. I used to be someone that just waited for life to happen to me, and then I would learn to do what to do. So this is all about navigating through those roadblocks. Excuse me. I learned how to, excuse me. I've learned how to start navigating myself through those roadblocks. I could lead myself, and then other people were confident to follow. I was able to lead them as well. like I said, instead of just waiting for life to tell me what was going to happen to me, I started actually defining what I wanted to be doing, what I wanted to achieve from life, and what kind of legacy I wanted to lead for the future. This led me to start making decisions from actually a vision that I held, not just a place of fear or insecurity. And that mean I became the kind of man who moves with direction even when shit gets messy. And this is important and integral in what you're going to learn how to do. Optimizing my physical and mental performance went hand in hand. I was always somebody that was into my training, but I was never somebody that listened to his body. There's a big difference. So I started to actually get out of my head and get into my body. Everything I was doing, I was training, I was moving, I was lifting, but what I started doing that was different was I started feeling my body. I was feeling when it was in pain, real pain, not just that little bitch pain. You know what I'm talking about, but the one that is actually telling you that you need to rest. Us entrepreneurs and businessmen, so often we forget how to rest, listening to our body. Doing this all helped me actually face conflict. I didn't used to be someone that liked to deal with conflict, but getting into boxing, getting into martial arts of some description will always help you deal with conflict. You feel so much more presence within yourself. And that is what the body teaches you. It lets you learn to hold your truth, feel your truth. And I also started to learn about the sacredness of sexual connection. It's not just this thing that we do. There's an energy exchange there. And I started learning and embodying this in a way that's primal and physical, something that feels within. Stage 4 is purpose, fulfillment, and brotherhood. This is where we start, or we stop, essentially, trying to control your relationships and you feel into your relationships because you're not impressing anyone. You're not trying to impress anyone. You are showing up as the real, authentic you, and that alone will draw the right people in. So I started leading with this grounded energy. I wasn't forcing anything. There wasn't any frustration. There wasn't friction there. And so from that, I built intimacy through presence, not performance. I'm showing up. I'm there. I'm actively there. It's not just this thing that we have to do. And then I started actually holding my own boundaries because I started learning my own boundaries. I was listening to myself. And from that, I finally became respected, not because I demanded it, but because I embodied it. On with that is the brotherhood. This is so, so important, fellas. Like, I cannot stress this enough, how important it is to have you, people that are moving in the right direction, people that want to see you grow, see you evolve, see you level up. This is a genuine brotherhood. It's not just friends. This was a group of men who built me to a higher standard. These are my brothers. I started giving and receiving support without ego, just grounded accountability. I was coming from a place of love, and I was coming from a place of knowledge, and I was coming from a place of wisdom here when I was expressing things of help. And also, I was able to receive in the same way because I knew they were as well. Then this is where the real journey started for me. This is where the real push and finding my purpose in helping my brothers rise and become stronger men. Man, this brotherhood built my momentum, and it really forced me to have this sense of belonging that I didn't know that I actually needed. So as I said, this system is adapted for men who feel stuck, unfulfilled, and lost in your own success. You are successful on the outside. You've got the business. You're making the money. You've got the titles. But inside here, internally, things are messed up. You don't feel right. You don't feel connected. You don't feel balanced. This is for the man who knows that there is more in him, but you don't have the right key to unlock it yet. The negative identity erasure system really helps you destroy that old identity that is holding you in place, that is keeping you stuck, and it helps you replace it with the real habits, behaviors, and the foundations that will actually take you to the man that you want to be, the man you know you can be, the man that is in you right now. As I said, these are the exact steps. This took me over 10 years to get to where I am now, to a man that is fulfilled, that a man that is confident in who I am. But you don't have to go through that. This system completely rebuilt my confidence to having true confidence, not just this bravado, this bullshit, this confidence of a man who is successful in business. Transformed how I carry myself, and people notice that. You can feel it when you walk into a room. So if you are ready to step into the man that you were meant to be, this is for you. So if you're an entrepreneur or a businessman who is successful, you're over 30, but you feel stuck or disconnected or just unfulfilled, if you're a man who's lost the confidence, the self-worth, and you feel like you're fighting this internal battle every fucking day, and if you've tried the therapy, if you've tried the coaching, if you've tried other methods, but they haven't hit the mark, let me guarantee you this will be the thing for you. So if you're ready to burn your old identity and rebuild the man that you know you're meant to be, that you know you're capable of being, if you're willing to step into the discipline, the purpose, and the unshakable masculine leadership that you know is within inside you, then this is for you. You'll be able to destroy those feelings of negativity, the limiting beliefs, the bullshit that's holding you back in the next 90 days without all of the bullshit associated with the usual self-help. Now, I only have a couple of spots left in this month. So there's only 3 spots left until the end of this month. Afterwards, I'm going to be closing it because this is a 12-week container. So get in soon if this is for you.